Hey everybody, in a recent call for some video suggestions, I was asked why I like math rock, so I'm going to answer this for you. The first thing that comes to mind is that I like guitar-driven music because I'm a guitarist. So obviously math rock has a lot of guitar front and center with the style, so naturally I'm drawn to that. And I'm also drawn to other guitar genres too, but that's a big factor. Another factor is my musical history and taste and the overlap between things that I used to listen to the stuff that I listen to now. So math rock obviously combines elements of rock with some other things like complex diatonic harmony. Complex within that world. And it also combines some cool rhythmic content. So the music that I grew up with was like punk pop music and then eventually classic rock, which eventually transitioned into indie rock, experimental rock, and then into math rock. So math rock kind of combines all of these elements of genres that I used to listen to as a kid, and it's kind of the perfect package of all of this stuff that makes sense to me, but it's all put into a single place. Like, for example, some of the punk pop energies and harmonies are present in current day math rock, and some of the heavy rock feel is present in classic rock, and some of the harmonic sensibilities of like 2010s indie rock is really present in at least the kind of stuff that I like to listen to, like the sound of major seventh chords and fifths and stuff like that. So to segue, I suppose, I also like math rock because I like the harmony, and I like the harmony because it relates to harmony that is familiar to me in some sense, but it's a little bit spicier than that, which is cool. So in terms of that harmonic side of things, I really like that math rock focuses on these major chords with extensions like major sevens, major nines, and I love how the rhythmic content is more sophisticated than a lot of the rock that I used to listen to, like the classic rock or the indie rock stuff. So it's just kind of more exciting in that regard. Like, I love how modern math rock is rhythmically, especially with all of the dotted rhythms and syncopations and stuff like that. And another thing I like is that math rock doesn't seem to have a lot of historical baggage behind it in terms of its identity as a genre, especially from a guitar sense. Like, a lot of other guitar genres, like progressive metal, for example, have some historical baggage attached to it, in the sense that you can hear like blues influence in some of the phrasing and playing, or the fact that guitar solos are really prominent in those styles. Whereas math rock really seems to kind of divide itself from that kind of thing. There's not a whole lot of blues. There's not a whole lot of improvisation, which is a really common feature of popular guitar styles of like the 20th century. So math rock is this really modern thing, which I think really resonates with me because and that modern aspect of it makes it unique, which I think sounds pretty fresh. Also, I think that there's a lot of possibility to be explored with math rock. At its core, I think I like the virtues behind the style. Like, I won't say that I like every single math rock band, but this general idea of complex form, which I also haven't talked about. Like, I love the form of math rock and the fact that it's mostly instrumental. So there's a lot of interweaving parts, and there's just so much stuff to analyze, like beyond just like note choices, right? The forms are always really interesting. They resemble maybe the virtues of classical music in terms of how themes and ideas are developed, or how momentum and dynamics can be a part of how a piece is put together. Like, math rock songs, while they all have this kind of aggregate sound, the specificities within each piece are not super predictable at times, which I think is pretty cool. And I also really like the kind of sub-style of math rock that is based on like 20th century minimalism. So stuff that kind of echoes the sound of Steve Reich, for example, in bands like Battles, or even bands like Enemies. Like, I just think that influence is really, really modern, and I think that there's still a lot to do with that kind of thing. So I guess we could say that I like the history, the guitar aspect of the genre. I like the virtues of the genre, which are very, I suppose, classical in a way, but with a modern twist to them. And I like that it sounds fresh to me, and I feel like there's a lot of direction for the genre to go. So hopefully that answered that question, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.